This is probably the best I can do right now. Is to just basically, so the project is called Totalism, or Cyber Hippie Totalism. The website is totalism.org, and I'd like to invite you to kind of visit it. And there's a link to a pad here. So yeah, I think at this moment I'd like to kind of make the format a little more interactive, and just kind of try to figure out how you're currently living and how you imagine it would be possible to build all this. And yeah, here's the pad. Tactical Theft Collective, but it's going to employ 20 people and give them the freedom to kind of work on important things. Or you can have like only a limited number of professors, right? Especially with the new liberal attacks on academic funding, and so this is becoming like increasingly small space of freedom to work on important things. Yeah. A bit earlier, the interest of capital, right? So that's very clear, right? I mean, I'd propose that technology has a very direct connection to power, right? I mean, we're basically building access, but access have to be wielded by somebody, right? Somebody is like, using an axe to do something. So, and then what's currently sets the agenda, what we're building. It's market. It's not only capitalism, it's marketing capitalism. So, there's the PR industry, copywriters, kind of trying to, yeah, I mean, that's basically all I wanted to just kind of get across, right? I mean, it's possible to, well, okay, maybe a bit more technical things, right? So, what does it cost to live in a Hackbase? Currently, it's about 300 euros a month, right? So, yeah, so, yeah, exactly. Well, maybe let's just look at a few pictures. I actually prepared a few. So this is going to be very like a random selection of stuff, right? So, yeah, I mean, you were just, this used to be the Hackbase used to be a house for the first 2 years. So we rented a house and developed what I call Type 1 Hackbase, which is called a rented fluid apartment, right? So you need 3 things for that. You need a financial model. It's kind of similar to a Wohngemeinschaft in Germany, or just a shared flat, right? I mean, but there you have fixed people, and you can easily say, okay, the place costs 1,000 euros. There's 4 people, each gives 250 euros. That's very easy, right? But in Hackbase, as it's like a kind of a nomad base or something like this, people can come and go as they like, right? So they might stay for 3 days, they might stay for 2 months, and how do you kind of divide all that up? Given that also, costs are variable with utilities, and also you want to invest into the house, right? So you want to build things and buy tools and so on. So the first part that really enables a Type 1 Hackbase is financial model. The second thing is how do you make the house run? That's also a big problem. Like how do you have a house order so people don't kill each other and still kind of have a advanced hot bunking, right? From submarines where you have different people sleeping in different schedules and this kind of stuff. But why would you do all this? Well, you would do it because then, like you don't need to work for companies, which I haven't done in 5-6 years with I guess a brief.
Help stepping through the pictures while you talk.
So okay, we live in Canary Islands. We this is pictures from the dam. We explore the peculiarities of that, and this is kind of like what the deserts look like, and this is one habitat we often inhabit. This is a car lab from CHD4A, which was held in November 2014. Yeah, this is really interesting for us. I'm going to go on a few kind of tangents now. So what you see here is you see very clear parcellation, right? And what you can also see are this terraces, right? So this was built in the mid-19th century, and now they're abandoned. So like, how do you deal with this natural environment? Do you do you leave it like this to just kind of grow back? Do you try to grow potatoes on it, like this guy's doing here, or do you try to do something like this, right? So my argument is that this is actually the most close to the primary nature of this space, and of course what we're doing right now is with type 2 Hackbase, we're trying to buy land and live on a piece of land like this, right, and kind of grow it back into its original state, which actually nobody even knows what there is. So in a way we're kind of hacking natural history, and we're gonna, a big part of what we're doing also is architecture, because these houses are probably not illegal, not legal, but they're kind of de facto also not illegal. So what can you really build there? Well, this is I guess some pictures from the last camp. We went to the kind of greenest, wettest, coldest place just to check out if we've progressed to be able to take care of that. Because normally the lowest temperatures on the island are about 13 degrees in the night, in the winter, right? And here they go all the way down to like 6, which is quite a big difference. Big thing is when you're living outside, like how do you kind of store things, and this is the kind of problems we deal with. How do you protect your stuff against weather in general, and so. So this is the last place we've camped at. This is the first camp we've done completely separate from any infrastructure. The first 2 camps. So this is type 2 now, right? Type 1 was a house. Type 2 is what we call permanently temporary nomadic rural hackbase. We just have a bunch of boxes. We transport them to location, and we do stuff like solar and water harvesting and communications and audio and battery tech and all this kind of stuff. This is a 50-watt solar panel. It's surprising, if you kind of optimize and you don't use inverters and you don't use stuff that's really not necessary in this setup. So you can power 2 laptops with a single small solar panel. And do you really need any other power too much, right? You got a network. So you don't really need a lot. The goal of type 2 is to build a way to exit the capitalist society with 1,000 euros one-time entry, which will give you a piece of land you need to grow other things, the architecture to live in, the energy systems, communication systems, so basically everything you need to survive, right? It's very beautiful to live there, and very strange because you're in this you're very heavily supported by technology and trying to develop technology further, but at the same time you're really inside deep nature. This slide is random, but it's kind of really important for us. We're trying to find ways to inhabit these environments and be a productive force, right? Otherwise it's not possible to live there. So if we can prove to the local people that we will grow forests where they should be and just clean up the place. So, food for thought, it's possible to kind of find new typologies with ways you don't immediately foresee that are kind of okay with the local status quo of what should be actually going on there. So we thought we were going to need to buy land, but now it doesn't really seem like we're going to need to. Some more pictures from the house. This used to be the former base. This is kind of like how the island looks like. Look, you can get this house for 300 euros a month, right? And we had an average of 6 people in there in the last season. The reason why we abandoned the house really was because it works, right? So type 1 Hackbases work. If you're living with other people, all you have to do is you have to change the way you share the costs, change the way you set the house order, and change the way you kind of have personal space. You kind of have to rethink and reconfigure that. But this is all documented on the website, and these are now statically tied to poles to the ground, right? What if you put in what do you call this, electric winches, right? So basically, if you put electric winches on all the poles, you could dynamically change the shape of the structure to kind of accommodate the changing wind directions, which will fuck up your structures if they're not built out of brick and the sun, right, or passing you. But why you need to do these kind of things and why hackers can do it and other people don't is because, if you want a stone house, go ahead. I mean, earn 100,000 euros, buy one. But for this, you need 100 euros, right? So that's where I'm trying to lead this project. Now a good thing with the project now is that we're starting to work with the local people. This is Santiago. He's a great sculptor, and local people are starting to help us out a lot because we kind of share a common vision of how we work with the land and so on. A few more 4C pictures. So this was in May, right? We're going back there. I should probably say this. Maybe show the link. So hereototalism.org. You've got this thing here. Next camp is in May. Yeah. So here's the planning. Are editable. They're built with Etherpad, so basically anyone can change both the design and the contents of the pads. It's fully revertible, so do whatever you want. So how to get the remaining 300 euros? How much time do they have, by the way? Well, are you keeping the time maybe, or do you have any idea? Anybody looking at the time? Huh? I don't know, like maybe 3 minutes? Yeah, cool, okay. So I think now I'm just gonna drop a few directions of where the page is going. But really, I mean, all I'd like to really encourage you is to visit the site and look through the index, right? So some projects here are the hacker co-op. This is what I'd really like to kind of push is, if you still need 300 euros or 400 euros, yeah, how do you earn them? So people so far have been left to themselves to figure this out. Some have past savings, some are on vacation. Some were trying to freelance, but then if you're freelancing, you really need internet, and sometimes internets are flaky if you're in different parts of desert mountains and so on. So what I want to do right now is say, okay, we're going to identify a list of what we call relatively non-shitty labor, yeah? So the idea is that we still didn't figure it out. It's not a free autark society. We still need this 400 euros. So if we're going to work, let's identify a list of companies which are relatively non-shitty and try to approach them. But because we only need 400 euros, we can work for them really cheaply, so we can be like a competitive labor force. But that's great because we're working for institutions which we love, or I guess mutually love, right? So again, this is a pad, yeah. So you're very invited to enter the place you're working at if you think it's relatively non-shitty. Some stuff that's there is obviously like the EFF and in Spiral and the Cooperative Integral Catalonia and Mozilla and Open News and so on, right? So how does this tie to the cooperative? Yeah, so you have non-shitty companies, you work for them, and you get this money to live in a Hackbase. So we're this close to offering anybody the offer to quit their jobs, come with 1,000 euros, get land, and get a replicable model that they can basically just Actually, I mean, the idea of the Hackbase originally is to have a network of spaces, right? So there needs to be one in Berlin, one in Paris, one in London, one in Lanzarote, and then you can fly around them, and you're not really set a place. You can always, there's one in Bratislava just being built by Young Wauza. I have to name tag that. Yeah, that's basically it. Sorry, I was drinking until 8 a.m. I hope I did a good job presenting this project, but it's really not about me or my presentation of it. It's just about that stuff, right? So if you put your labor effort, your technological capacity to working with water and energy and architecture instead of whatever, then this might also increase your ability to work on whatever else you think is important. So Hackbases are really like just sort of evolutionary stepping stone towards everything else that we, I guess, want to do, whatever that is. Thanks. Questions, please.